My name is Brenda, and this is History Cole's Notes. So let's get started. So picture this. It's mid-1300. You wake up, you're not feeling that well, and then immediately you fill with an intense fear. You know that the only thing left for you is for your loved ones to carry out your soon-to-be dead body and hastily bury it. Now, likely you're going to lie with hundreds of other dead in a pit where a couple shovelfuls of soil is going to be thrown over your body and then another body thrown on top of you. Now, this was reality during the times that the Black Death ravaged Europe during the years of 1347 to 1353. The plague known as the Black Death actually earned its name several centuries before it hit. Many experts believe that the name itself came from a mistranslation of the Latin word atra, meaning terrible and black. The Black Death was an epidemic of the bubonic plague, and it's believed that it arrived in Europe in October of 1347, when 12 ships from the Black Sea arrived in a Sicilian port. When these ships docked, most of the sailors aboard were already dead, and those still alive were near death's door. They were covered with black boils that oozed blood and pus. Authorities quickly ordered the ships out of their harbor, but it was already too late. This highly infectious disease had already passed to the local population, and over the next 5 years would kill over 20 million people in Europe. This was approximately 1/3 of Europe's population at that time. But even before the ships arrived, people started hearing rumors about a disease that was carving a swath of death through the trade routes in the East. It is now thought that the Black Death may have originated in Asia about 2,000 years ago, but the pathogen responsible may have been already in Europe as early as 3000 BC. These early rumors, they were right though. In early 1340, this disease hit China, India, Persia, Syria, and Egypt, and is believed to be spread through early trading ships. Soon, the horror of this disease was becoming reality for many people living in those times, and the Europeans were not equipped. The Black Death, it didn't discriminate. It hit the young, it hit the old, and all genders alike. It is said that it started with a swelling of a person's lymph glands, or in either the underarms or the groin, up to the size of an egg or an apple. Then came the plague boils, which covered your body. These would seep blood and pus, while a victim would undergo a whole bunch of other symptoms like fever, chills, vomiting, severe pain, aches, diarrhea, and then death. It was terrifyingly contagious, and it appeared to those at that time that even touching the clothes of a person who was afflicted would result in you catching it. People who were thought to be perfectly healthy, they went to bed at night and could be dead by the morning. So what actually caused it? The Black Death, which is now known as the plague, was spread by a bacillus that travels from person to person through the air, as well as from a bite of infected fleas or rodents. Now, considering the cleanliness of medieval Europe was not at today's standards, these rodents and fleas were literally everywhere, in homes, in businesses, about the ships, which is how it quickly spread from location to location. But at that time, no one knew where it came from and how to prevent or treat it. So what did they do? Well, physicians at the time relied on their crude and unhelpful techniques like bloodletting and boil lancing. The healthy, they did everything they could to prevent from getting sick in the first place, and this had a major effect on the population. Like doctors, they stopped seeing patients. Priests, they refused to administer last rites, and shopkeepers, well, they closed their stores. Many decided to leave the cities for the country, but it was already too late. The disease already spread to livestock as well as humans, and there was just no stopping it. So, when bad things happen, historically, people do the exact same thing they do today: blame everybody but themselves. Since people did not understand the biology behind the Black Death at that time, people presumed it must be divine punishment. By their logic at this time, this was retribution for sins against God. There was only one thing they could do: win God's forgiveness by purging their communities of who they thought were heretics and troublemakers, which led to thousands of those in the Jewish faith being massacred between 1348 and 1349. Thousands more were able to escape this fate by fleeing to sparsely populated areas in Europe where they could be safe from the rampaging mobs in the cities. So, how did this horror actually end? Well, it didn't. The plague never actually ended, but it returned with a vengeance years later. But by this time, officials learned from the last outbreak. In the Venetian-controlled port city of Ragusa, they slowed the spread by keeping arriving sailors in quarantine until it was clear that they were disease-free. Sailors were initially held on their ships for 30 days, which was later changed to 40 days. This is where the idea of quarantining was invented. By the early 1350s, the Black Death epidemic appeared to have run its course, but it still appeared every couple of generations for centuries afterwards. Modern sanitation and public health practices had greatly lowered the impact of this disease, but it didn't eliminate it. According to the World Health Organization, even though there is antibiotics available to treat the Black Death, there are still between 1,000 and 3,000 cases of the plague each year. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can join us for more History Cold Notes. Be sure to check out all the other amazing content that we have on the Horrifying History channel, and be sure to follow us on social media. It is there that you'll be the very first to hear about what's coming up in the Horrifying History universe, and you can enter some great contests. The links to our social media is in the show notes. Thanks again for watching today, and until next time.